So starting on case really quickly, because Lee didn't really give a lot of adequate responses to my points. On my point of education, Lee says that there's variance in teachers and that leads to unequal education. Well, yeah, once in a while you might come across a teacher who's a little bit lackluster, but on the whole, most of these teachers, they've been trained, they know what they're doing, this is their job, this is what they're paid for. If they don't teach well, then they don't eat. I mean, that's sort of a big motivation. And as a parent, we feel that, you shouldn't rely on your own pseudo-teaching abilities for your daughter's education, like the foundation of her entire future. You should probably put her in more professional hands than your own when you are untrained as a teacher. He says that parents will nurture her, but as a parent, you have to realize that maybe I'll go a little easier on my kid because I want to nurture her. Maybe I'll let her slack off a little bit, and maybe that's not what's best for her. Maybe what's best for her is being in a more strict school environment. He says, she'll have access to other extracurriculars, and she'll still be able to play sports and music and stuff like that. But as I brought up in my POI, other community activities are not required by law to accommodate for her disability. The school is required by law to accommodate for her disability. If something happens and peanuts get into her system and she goes into anaphylactic shock, the school is legally responsible. Therefore, they're going to be a lot more capable, and a lot more careful than the community soccer league. Lee says that she'll be well-rounded on their side of the house, or no, that well-roundedness should be secondary to, more focused interests, and that if she wants music, her parents can have her play the violin or whatever on her own time. She's 6 years old. She doesn't know what she likes. She doesn't know what she wants to do. Where are kids exposed to all these different things like music and art and math and science to figure out, no thank you, to figure out what they want and what they enjoy the most and what they want to be doing? School. Public school is where they are exposed to all of these things, not homeschool. So that point completely falls, that she could just pursue her own interests in homeschool. She's 6. She doesn't have interests yet. You disagree.
Are you saying that parents are incapable of giving her this breadth of distribution, of giving them math, of giving her all these subjects? Is that?
I'm saying that not all parents are well versed in music and art and math and science and reading and all these other different things. That's why we have public schools, because parents don't have this very wide breadth of knowledge. They don't. My parents don't know everything. That's why they sent me to public school so I could learn. My dad didn't like math. He sent me to school so I could learn math. I don't know, my mom never played the flute. I went to public school, I learned how to play the flute.
Really?
Yes. Okay. My second social point, Lee gets up here and he says, her peers will hate her because she'll be that kid who makes them all have to wash their hands and everything. First of all, kids are dirty and they should wash their hands. Second of all, they're not going to know which kid is the one with the allergy. The kids aren't going to be sat down and told, here's a picture of the girl with the peanut allergy. You have to wash your hands every day because this girl has a peanut allergy. That's not what's going to happen. They're not going to know that. They're 6. They're gonna know that they have to wash their hands. That'll become a normal part of their school routine. It's not something that they're going to question. They're not going to be hostile over it because they don't have any other school experience to compare it to. They're 6 years old. By putting her in public school now, you normalize this sort of behavior so that she doesn't incur this sort of social stigma later in life. Under my point of how it's just going to benefit the other kids in the school system in general, how as a parent you're sympathetic to the needs of other children. You want them to benefit as well. Lee gets up here and all he really says is that there's this biological thing where if you're exposed to pathogens, you have immunity, and then you won't get sick. But if you make kids wash their hands, that won't happen. They'll always be sick because they'll never have any immunity. Kids are still probably going to be playing in the dirt and stuff on their own time and at home and whatever. They'll still be exposed to pathogens. I don't know why he would make that point against another bio major, but that's not how that theory works. It's not like these kids are in a glass box in a bubble, never exposed to germs. They're not exposed to peanuts. There's a really big difference between not being exposed to any pathogens whatsoever and not being exposed to peanuts in terms of how your immune system develops. He says that no one associates Florida with hatred being a bad school system. No. On face, you're just wrong. Do some research about the Florida public school system and then get back to me. I promise you you're wrong. maybe Pete will address it like Lee said he would. Going off case and discussing Lee's points, the first thing he talks about is the benefits of homeschooling and how you're going to get like a focused education, and you get like this focused education. So on homeschooling, like you don't actually, you do get maybe a more focused education, but we say that that's bad. Like we feel that the point of public school is to expose you to all these different sorts of things. Like especially let's look at public high school. You have courses in like economics, different languages, different arts and sciences, like and variations within like arts and sciences, like biology or chemistry or physics, like things like this. This wide range of options, maybe psychology, maybe sociology, that you will not have in public school. And we feel that she's going to be able to explore different fields and see what she's really interested in if she is in homeschool. And as a parent, you should want her to have like a broad and enriching experience. He brings up the idea of the teacher-student ratio. All right, so let's put this in perspective. You have one qualified, professionally trained teacher teaching 20 students who has been trained to handle teaching 20 students, or you have a parent who's never received any formal education training, trying to teach one kid. Like one crappy teacher for one student is really better than one good teacher for a few students. We don't feel that that point holds up at all. He says that the broad spectrum is bad and she can't explore what she wants. If she likes music, she'll do music on her own time. I already brought up this point. She doesn't know what she likes. She hasn't been exposed to a lot of things. She's 6 years old. Public school is the area where she will be exposed to these things. We'll find out what she's interested in and be able to pursue it more specifically later on. On Lee's social point, we don't feel that the school system, the public school system is rigid and jailing. We feel like the public school system teaches kids about time management and scheduling. I know that this class is going to be 45 minutes. I know that I have half an hour for lunch, whatever. That's what the real world is going to be like. You're going to have to work for X amount of hours on like Y project. You're going to have maybe an hour for lunch. It teaches kids, you might not feel like doing English right now, but these are 45 minutes where you're going to do English. So later on in life, like, you have an hour to do something. This project, whatever, for your business presentation has to be done within this period of time. You might not want to do it, but you have to. Not letting kids follow their own whims, learning that they have to schedule and budget time, that's part of what public school is good for. Community sports, again, I've been over this. Gaining the ability to believe in herself, we feel really holds more on our side of the house. The idea that you're teaching her to stand up for her rights, to not settle for anything less than what she is entitled to. And as a parent, that's absolutely what you should be promoting for your daughter. Lee also said that there's a cost to people, that she's going to negatively, there's a 30-second grace period.
No, I'm not asking.
Negative impacts on the learning environment. Well, you don't really, on balance, you care about your daughter more than you care about the learning environment as a whole. But even so, we don't feel that you're negatively impacting the learning environment. You're just introducing hygiene into the lives of these young children. She's not going to be ostracized or blamed or be this social pariah because the other kids aren't going to know that it's her that has this allergy. And also, when you introduce this at such an early age into their daily lives in school, it's going to become normalized, which will decrease social stigma on the whole as compared to if she had been introduced into the public school system later on in life. Thank you. I think after your speech will just be done. I think after Pete's speech will just be done. Do we really need to get the rebuttal speeches? No. And we'll all, sorry, and then I was just going to say, then we'll all have a speech to review. So. Or actually, we'll let you go. You'll give your rebuttal speech. I won't give mine because I already spoke twice.